Hi, I'm Jared, 33, and I paid for a wedding my kids weren't allowed to attend. 2 hours later, the bride's new father-in-law called me and said, "The wedding is off. They're on their way to your house to beg." I said nothing. Then came the knock. There's a moment right before a yoga class starts when everyone's seated, breathing, waiting that feels like holding a match just before you light it. That's how I felt the Tuesday everything lit up. I was at the studio, sun still soft through the east windows. When my phone buzzed, "Stepmom, Kira," I wiped down the last mat and answered. "Jared," she said like she'd already stubbed her toe. "We need to talk about the wedding, Chloe's wedding. My stepsister. The golden child. The one who says energy shift when she means I'm bored now." "I'm listening," I said, already bracing. They'd picked a bar and venue elevated rustic, apparently, and needed to lock it in. "Deposit due Friday." "We thought you could cover it," she said. Not asked, said. "I don't know if you've ever had someone hand you a $12,800 expense like it's a bottle of wine, but it doesn't go down easy." I should have said no. I should have left. Instead, I nodded at my own reflection in the studio mirror and said, "I'll talk to Maya." That night we went over our budget like it was a patient in critical care. Rent, preschool, groceries, the ever-frail car. We could do it. Barely. Maya looked at me like she already knew the ending and didn't want to watch the middle. "You're going to say yes, aren't you?" "It's just the deposit," I lied. I already knew it wouldn't be. I sent the money on Thursday. That weekend, Chloe posted a picture of a chandelier that costs more than my car with the caption, "She said yes to the vibe." Not a thank you. Not even a tag. Maya said, "This is going to end badly." I said, "I know. But what I didn't know, what I couldn't know, was that this whole wedding was a countdown. And that countdown would hit zero the moment I saw my son's photo taped to a clipboard under the words "Do not admit." The morning of the wedding, the house was a quiet kind of chaos. Maya packed snacks with that military efficiency she gets when she's furious but focused. Ben wore his dinosaur tie slightly stained, very proud. Eve insisted her star clip go on exactly the left side of her head. I wore the suit I keep in the back of the closet for funerals and things people pretend are joyful. We were running 5 minutes early. That should have been my warning. As we turned onto the gravel drive of the venue, white barn, string lights, floral installations large enough to host wildlife, I could already feel it. Something off. Something to curate it. At the top of the steps stood a man in a black suit, clipboard in hand. Polite smile. "A wedding bouncer." "Afternoon," he said. "Are you Jared?" "Yes." He checked the clipboard, then flipped up a plastic cover. Inside, 2 photos, Ben, Ava, "Do not admit," in thick black marker above their faces. I didn't understand it at first. Like when you walk into a dream that's wearing real clothes. "These are my kids," I said. He nodded like he'd memorized a script. The bride requested a child-free event. I was given specific instructions to escort any minors to the on-site sitter or deny entry if that's declined. "There's no sitter," I said. "We were never told about a sitter." He shifted uncomfortably. "I just follow instructions, sir." Then I heard it. The soft click of heels. Kira appeared with that smile she uses when pretending nothing's wrong. Behind her, Chloe peeked out like a nervous stage actor who forgot her lines. "Oh," Kira said like this was a small spill on a white dress. "We tried to call. My phone's on," I said. "It's just the aesthetic," she said. "Adult-only events photograph better. There are candles, glassware. You printed my children's faces," Maya said. "You gave them to a guard." "It's not personal," Kira said. "It's logistics." Ben looked up at me, eyes wide but trying to be brave. "Did we do something bad?" "No, buddy," I said. "You did nothing wrong." Then came the wedding planner, heels like gunshots, clipboard of her own. "We have a lot of delicate rentals," she chirped. "The insurance is very specific." I looked down at my children, then back at their faces on that laminated sheet like mugshots. My son's gap-toothed grin, Ava's pigtails. "Do not admit." And something just clicked. It wasn't rage. It was clarity. I handed Kira a card envelope. "Congratulations," I said. "Jared," she started, but I was already turning. I took Ben's hand. Maya took Ava's. We walked back to the car. Not rushed. Not angry. Just finished. 10 minutes later, as we pulled out of the gravel lot, my phone rang. A known number. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rang again. I answered. Jared, the voice said. This is Martin. I'm Parker's father. I just saw the list. Double quotes post. Double quotes the wedding is off. Martin didn't yell. That's what made it scarier. The wedding is off, he said again, like he was canceling a dentist appointment. They're on their way to your house, he added. To beg. Then, do not answer the door. Click. That was it. The call ended with the kind of authority only someone who's paid for too many things can afford. I looked at Maya. She was in the passenger seat, watching the world like it was something she might punch. He said, don't open the door, I told her. Her nod was slight, sharp. Then we picked up fries. Extra ketchup for Ben. A strawberry milkshake for Ava. Red Moon, please. We went home. We let the kids change into pajamas in the middle of the day. We sat on the couch and watched a movie about a snail who wanted to be fast. Then came the knock. 3 sharp raps. Confident, familiar. Chloe's voice followed, muffled but bright. Jared, we need to talk. Please open the door. I stood. Walked to the door. Pressed my hand to the wood. I could hear rustling. A second voice. Kira. Jared, let's be reasonable. We can fix this. Fix what? The list, the guard, the printed faces of my children. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just didn't open the door. My phone buzzed. Over and over. Dad, this isn't how we handle things. Call me, Chloe. You ruined my wedding. Kira, this family owes each other more than silence. Parker. Bro, seriously, let's talk. Maya walked in with Ava on her hip and raised her eyebrows. Grilled cheese. She asked. Double quotes. Yes, please, I said like a man clinging to dignity via dairy. As I buttered the pan, the voicemails kept stacking up. The kitchen filled with the scent of browning bread and guilt. Then one final message from Kira landed. I played it on speaker. You embarrassed us. You humiliated your sister. The list wasn't personal, it was about logistics. The venue had requirements. We called you family, and this is how you repay us. You owe us a conversation. You owe us. And there it was. The old ledger. The one that always appeared when things didn't go their way. You owe us. Like being the responsible one meant you signed a blank check forever. At 7:03 p.m. Martin called back. I've pulled our contribution, he said. Bar minimum, shuttle, tent gone. I won't fund cruelty. I didn't ask you to do that, I said. You didn't need to, he said. They CC'd me on the vendor invoices. I saw your transfers. How much? 21 and change, he said. Send me totals. I'll claw back what I can and wire you anything refundable. The rest Parker will pay. Or he'll learn what boundaries cost. This isn't revenge, I said. No, Martin said. This is called consequences. Then he hung up. The house was quiet after that. Not empty. Not tense. Just still. I sat at the table, opened a new email draft, and started typing. Subject, wedding expenses and next steps. I listed every cost. Every transfer. Subtracted Martin's pending refunds. Total owed $23,350. I added one final sentence. You denied entry to the event you asked me to finance by posting my children's faces under do not admit. I expect repayment in full. 12-month plan. First payment due next month on the 1st. Automatic transfer only. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure and boundaries. You're at. Then I hit send. The responses came fast. Always do when people feel cornered by facts. Kira, how dare you threaten your family? Dad, let's talk privately. Son, Chloe, 12 months. Lol, we're not a bank. Parker, let me figure things out. Maya read them over my shoulder. She didn't sigh. She didn't roll her eyes. She just said, clear, good. Then she kissed my head like I'd done the dishes without being asked. At 9:40 p.m. The door knocked again. I checked the peephole. Dad, same stance. He always had one hand in his pocket, one rubbing his temple like he was solving life by massaging it. I opened the door. He stepped inside and gave a sad little nod, like we were both victims of an unnamed force. This got out of hand, he said. They printed my kids, I said. He exhaled hard through his nose. It was the venue. You think the venue had school photos of Ben? I asked. You think they found Ava's daycare picture on Google? Silence. Then you could have stayed for your sister. You mean swallowed, I said. You mean performed quiet? Again, he looked down at his shoes like they might rescue him. We keep peace in this family. No, I said. You keep silence. I'm done performing it. He stared at me long enough to wind up a lecture, but he didn't. He shook his head. I don't recognize you. I know, I said. I finally recognize myself. He left without slamming the door. Small progress. The next morning, Kira posted a Facebook paragraph about protecting your peace from toxic negativity. It didn't mention me by name, but it didn't need to. My cousin screenshotted it with the caption, "She really hit copy plus paste on I'm the victim energy." I didn't read the comments. I had a yoga class to teach. At noon, Martin emailed a PDF titled Refund Summary. He got $6,200 back from the vendors. He wired it the same day. Subject line: apology via wire. Body: Parker to cover the remainder. If he balks, I will. I won't be associated with people who blacklist toddlers. It's blunt. I respect blunt. That night, Chloe tried a new strategy. Text: let's talk like adults. No ultimatums. 10 minutes later, ignoring me. Power trip much. Then a photo of her puffy face captioned, "This is what you did." I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and read Red Moon with Ava. 2 days later, Parker showed up at my studio. My manager texted, "Guy in pastel polo asking for you by first name." Safe. I stepped into the lobby. He stood near the potted plant, sweating like he'd just been asked to define empathy in front of a crowd. "Your email was intense," he said. "You hired a guard to keep my children out," I said. "I didn't hire," he stopped himself. "I didn't stop it. Better. 12 months is aggressive." "It's generous," I said. 6 months would be aggressive. He nodded slowly like someone calculating PR damage versus financial risk. "Fine. 12 automatic transfers. First of the month. Memo line. I edit. Label it." He blinked. "Label it. Closure. Boundaries. Something helpful." He stared like I'd asked him to write a poem. Then said, "Tell Maya I'm sorry. Tell your future self." I said. The first payment came right on time. $1,945.83. Memo for peace. I laughed out loud in my car. The second month, they were 3 days late. I sent a reminder. Chloe replied with 3 crying emojis and $15,000 replied. Balance $445.83. She sent it. No note. Family group chat went quiet. Dad sent me a meme about goats doing yoga like we didn't all just bleed on the porch last month. Kira posted quotes about light and forgiveness. I chose groceries. Ben lost his first tooth. Ava learned to say strawberry correctly, and then decided she still preferred Red Moon. 2 months in, there was another knock. This one soft, like guilt, wearing ballet flats. I looked through the peephole. Chloe. Sunglasses. Hair in a bun. The costume of contrition. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. I didn't ask her and she took off her sunglasses. Her eyes were red. "We need to talk," she said. I didn't speak. She took that as permission. "You made a scene," she said. "You made a list." I replied. "It wasn't personal," she said. "It was about the aesthetic. It was a photo of Ben. You wrote 'do not admit' over his smile." I didn't write it. "The planner, you let it exist," I said. "And you stood behind it." Literally. She shifted her weight like the ground wasn't cooperating. "Mom says you've always hated me. I've always paid for you," I said. "There's a difference." She looked at her shoes, then back at me. "So what now? We say hello at birthdays and ignore each other the rest of the year." "No," I said. "We don't exchange money. We don't put each other's kids on lists. We don't confuse guilt with love." She tilted her head. "You sound like one of those therapists on Instagram." "No," I said. "I sound like a dad." She squinted at me like she didn't quite recognize the man in front of her. "Parker and I got married at the courthouse yesterday," she said. "You weren't invited." "Good," I said. That threw her. Like I'd skipped a line in her script. "We'll keep paying," she added. "Good," I said again. It's a complete sentence. They paid for 7 months. Promptly. Clean transfers. Memos like making things right and family matters. Then the 8th month. Short. "Parker, hey man, we had to move some money for something time sensitive. Can we pause?" Me. New plan, $1,000 for 3 months. then resume full amount. He agreed. I didn't ask what was time sensitive. I didn't want to know. I'm not their bank. I'm not their backup plan. I'm not their dad. A few weeks later, Dad texted me, BBQ Sunday. Bring kids. I stared at it like it was in a different language. Maya read my face. You can go if you want to, she said. Don't if you don't. We went. The grill smelled like memory. Charred hot dogs. Canned soda. The summer version of childhood. Dad flipped burgers like he was trying to flip the story. He didn't apologize. He didn't explain. But he did ask Ben about first grade. He asked Ava about her favorite animal. He looked at me and said, "You're different." "I'm better," I said. He nodded, just once. Like that door was when he might walk through slowly. On the drive home, the car was quiet in the good way. Maya reached across the center console and took my hand. "You did it," she said. "I didn't fix them," I said. "You fixed you," she replied. That's the only job. The 9th payment hit right on time. So did the 10th. Then, one Tuesday morning, Martin emailed a final PDF. Subject, refund summary, final transfer body, applied last vendor credit of $200 from content team. Ridiculous. Your balance is zero. He added a note. You did right by your family. That matters. I believe him. I sat there for a minute, staring at that zero. It didn't look small. It looked like a full stop. The kind that comes at the end of a sentence you've been stuck in for years. Then came one last message from Kira. We're disappointed in who you've become. I typed .delete. Typed it again. Delete. This time. I finally pressed send. I'm not. No more essays. No more justifying why my kids deserve basic dignity. No more door knocks for errands that aren't mine. I retired from the role of always steps up. I hired myself for something else. Husband, dad, person with a spine. The door stays closed more often now. Not out of spite. Out of care. When it opens, it's because we want it to. I still teach yoga. Still say, lengthen on the inhale, root on the exhale. Only now, I mean it. In my body, in my life. The final transfer hits. $1,945.83. Memo final. I open my note labeled Chloe Wedding Track. I scroll past every entry, every date, every memo. I write the last line. Balance, $0. I don't delete it. Some records deserve to stay. Then I send one last email. Subject, final payment received. Receive final payment. Balance $0. Boundaries are now in place. No money exchanged. No family leverage. Children remain outside all future conflict. If you cannot meet these terms, I will not be present. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. You ready? Don't wait for replies. Ava climbs into my lap and calls the toast sun bread. Ben asks how to spell Trinot and insists we hang the drawing on the fridge even though it's just a triangle with legs. Maya kisses the top of my head like I've just come home from war. The towels still fall off the hooks. The shoe basket is still a disaster, but it's our disaster, our chaos, our peace. People will say, I was dramatic. They always do when the quiet one finally says, enough. But people who profit from your silence will always call your boundary rude. I didn't scream. I didn't throw a fit. I didn't post a thread or light a match. I just stepped away. Yes, I paid for a wedding I didn't attend. Yes. I left when my kids were turned into a policy violation. Yes. I said numbers instead of apologies. And no, I don't regret it. I'm not the hero in Chloe's story. I'm not even a side character anymore. I don't need to be. I'm the dad who took his kids for fries instead of letting them be risks on a clipboard. I'm the husband who sat beside his wife and said, let's not light ourselves on fire just to keep other people warm. I'm the man who finally realized that peace without self-respect isn't peace, it's performance. The family chat still exists, but it's quiet. Dad sends me the occasional meme. Chloe posts about self-love in tones that sound suspiciously like Instagram captions. Parker sends his payments with no memos now. That's fine. Maya and I put up new hooks in the bathroom. They fall off less often. Not never, but less. Ben sleeps without his dinosaur flashlight now. It broke last week. He didn't cry. He just said, maybe I don't need it anymore. Ava still calls strawberries red moon sometimes, but sometimes she just says strawberries. Both are correct. I still teach class. Still make playlists. Still tell people to unclench their jaws and find their breath. But now, when I tell them to ground down to find the parts of themselves that no longer bend, I'm not reading from a script. I'm speaking from a place I had to fight my way into. A place I built, brick by boundary. A place where doors only open from the inside. So if you're ever standing on a porch with people demanding access to a version of you that doesn't exist anymore, you're allowed to stand on the other side. You're allowed to say, this isn't about revenge. This is about closure. And then, if you want to, you make grilled cheese, you read dinosaur books, you listen to your daughter describe the moon as red, you step into your life, a real one, the quiet one, the honest one, and you finally exhale.